Hello and welcome to the Machinist News Network. I'm Deirdre Kanievsky. No matter your race, religion, or gender, everyone should be paid the same amount for the same job. And with new legislation signed just weeks ago by the president, it's now easier to make sure an injustice like unfair pay doesn't happen. Whether you're working in manufacturing, at an office, or in the service industry, you should be paid the same amount as your colleagues who perform the same job. But unlike in a labor union where the paying field is level, recent statistics state that women only make about 70 cents to the dollar that a man makes. Changing that is what brought the name Lilly Ledbetter to the politicians on Capitol Hill.
Wasn't it exciting the other day to see that the first bill that President Barack Obama, God, do I love to say that. Do I love to say that? President Barack Obama, the first bill he signed was to make sure that workers, especially women, could no longer be discriminated in the workplace on pay. He outlawed the idea that you can pay a woman less for the identical worker that her male counterpart is doing, and he signed it into law as his first act.
For nearly 2 decades, Lilly Ledbetter worked for Goodyear Tire. Over time, as her male colleagues started making more money, Lilly's salary stayed the same. Lilly sued the company, but after a long battle that went all the way to the Supreme Court, the courts decided Lilly didn't have a case because, according to the law, she waited too long to bring the pay discrepancy issue to the company.
Before the Supreme Court decision, there was a much earlier case decades before that said if you're being paid unfairly, every single new paycheck starts the clock over again so that you can file your charge. Because that's what happened to her. They changed when the clock would have started. And so they said, no, you should have filed your charge when you got the raise that was unfair.
But in Lilly's case, like so many others, sometimes it takes years to find out you are being cheated, and even longer to do something about it.
So under the way the law is written, you have 180 days to bring your charge of discrimination to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And in certain states, that's 300 days, but let's go with 180 days because that's what the rule was for where Lilly Ledbetter was living. So if you miss that 180-day window, your charge is not timely, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Often the reality is that people usually don't talk to each other about, how much do you make? That is a very private thing for so many people, and they don't know it. So it may take a long time. Look, in the case of Lilly Ledbetter, it took 20 years for her to discover it. But we should never limit people's ability to get justice. There should not be a time limit on justice.
So in 2007, several Democratic leaders, including then Illinois Senator Barack Obama, started working on legislation to address the time limit restriction. The new law says that with every paycheck you receive in which you are unpaid fairly, the clock starts again. President Obama campaigned on this issue, and it became the first piece of legislation signed into law when he became president.
This is a new day now, and so when women and men discover that there is pay discrimination, they now can go to the courts and file their complaints.
The new law removes the harsh time restrictions and makes it easier for those who feel they are being discriminated against to find out if that's the case.
This, in a sense, lifts the veil, if you will, and I think that they're going to be monitoring to make sure that they're not discriminated against.
It was wonderful that this is one of the first things that he did. It's also incredibly important given the economic conditions that we're facing. Because while nobody can ever afford to make less money than somebody else because of their gender or because of their race, it's especially difficult right now. And for this to be part of the economic recovery, and this, we should be talking about making sure that the wages that come out of these jobs and how people are treated in these jobs is an important part of the economy that we're building.
Hopefully, it's an economy that takes into account the union adage heard from so many in the labor movement. An injustice for one is an injustice for all. Because of negotiated contracts, many in the labor movement don't need to worry about paycheck fairness issues. But workers, and many economists alike, argue that in an economy where every penny counts, unfair pay hurts us all. For more machinist news, you can log on to goim.org. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.